December 2nd. I already love your home the way it is. And today, actually, rather than talking to you about what you should do to your house, I just want to tell you why I already love it. Mid-century houses are obviously my passion. If we haven't met, hi, I'm Della. I am an architect and a mid-century ranch enthusiast. But I have very good reasons for why I love these little houses so much. And I live, personally, in the most modest of mid-century ranches. 1952, builder basic, standard picture window out front, simple kitchen. You can see the basic trim that was, I promise, already painted in this room before I painted it again. Slab, plywood doors. Just couldn't be more modest. But it's a great house. I was delighted on the day that I bought it. It just really fills me with joy because all of these builder-grade mid-century ranches that were built by the literal millions between the 1940s and the 1960s across the US have a bunch of things going for them. So I just want to tell you some wonderful things about the house you live in right now. If you live in a mid-century ranch, it is a perfect size. Maybe you think it's a little small. Maybe it's actually generous compared to the last apartment you lived in. But a mid-century ranch is a good size of single-family home. We'll talk about density in another time. Basically, they were built to meet the necessities of modern life, but not to be extravagant. They're not your modern McMansion. They're not going to be filled with extra rooms for things you don't do. And if you plan them right, if you design around their quirks, they can have space for everything you could possibly want. One of the reasons they don't need to be super large is because mid-century houses were built in mid-century neighborhoods. They're close to a lot of wonderful things. They're right in the middle of schools, churches, libraries, parks. Usually you can walk to shopping. Sometimes we used to have a grocery store in the little development across the block from mine, and now that's moved a few miles away. But there are so many accessible things in a mid-century neighborhood, including a whole bunch of other mid-century houses. So you can walk out the door of your home and admire the charming features of everyone else's mid-century home. And these little houses are so well built. They were made with care by maybe the last generation of real craftsman contractors out of materials that you can't get your hands on today in some cases. Most of the ranches in my neighborhood have really modest cedar siding. It looks very basic, but actually it's redwood. It is like old growth. You can't put that on the house siding of a modest builder-grade house these days. What you get now is vinyl. Likewise, the floor joists that hold these up, the basic oak wood floor that you've got down here. It's a little grungy. Don't judge me. Also, my chair is squeaking. It's happening. Happy December. It's dry in here. This floor it's basically unattainable today. It's irreplaceable today. You can put in a wood floor, a hardwood floor, but it won't be as dense, as thick as this. It won't be such old growth. These are just materials we don't have access to anymore. And so to maintain them, to take care of them, to love and appreciate them, that is our charge as mid-century homeowners. These little houses are so livable and lovable. They have really comfortable features. They're easy to render accessible as people age in place. One of my neighbors down the block just put a ramp out so they can go down their 2 steps to the driveway more simply. But these are houses that suit a single person, a family, quite a large family back in the day. People raised families of 6 in these 3-bedroom ranches. And then you can age in place in them. They're so wonderful. And if you need to expand, they're incredibly easy to add on to. They were built that way. The simple gable roof that a lot of the Midwestern ranches have can basically be just like put on an L, a C, a Z, any shape of push-out addition you want can be added with simple structure, with minimal cost for footings and foundations. They're practical for just about any kind of addition because they're so well built and simple in form. The sort of more fancy, complicated shapes of houses that I saw going up by I can't even imagine how many in cornfields all over the northern Chicago suburbs when I was growing up. Those houses are much harder to modify because they have more complicated shapes. The simple little rectangle ranch that was built just constantly in the era that our houses were built, that is really easy to put an addition on. So if you're curious about that, I have a lot of other material. Ask a question in the comments and we'll talk more about additions later in this month. And then finally, Mid-century ranches have charm. It doesn't matter how basic they are, there's something to love. For me, I fell in love with this house because of the doors. The wood grain and the stain is just so beautiful. It's really nice to the touch too. And I have a cute little telephone nook by my dining space to connect to the kitchen. I don't keep a telephone in there, I keep library books in it, but it's just making me smile every day when I go by. So if you have something you love, some simple, modest little feature of your mid-century house that you'd like to share, drop a comment. I would love to hear about it. I will celebrate it with you. But today I just wanted to say the best thing you can do for your house today to think about how you can improve it is to appreciate it. Think about what a great house you live in. Your mid-century ranch is wonderful, almost just as it is. We'll talk about what you can do to tweak it later in the month. Happy December 2nd.